You're listening to the Ask Drone U podcast. You ask, we answer your drone questions. Whether you're here to turn your passion into profit or you simply fly for fun, we're a community of learners and teachers who aspire to achieve greatness. We are
Drone U.
Hey everyone, and welcome back. My name is Paul, as always, and happy you're taking flight with us today.
Me too, and Rob, as always. Might be fun. What if we were a society where we changed our names for some reason more often? That is totally random. We don't need to discuss that. Anyways, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it so much. And
That's too much change for me, Rob.
we love your questions, but perhaps even more than love, we need your questions. That's what makes the show go. So askdroneu.com, because this is all for you. And man, we love hearing from you. So head on over. Get her done. Yeah, that's all I got. Let's jump into this sucker.
Well, let's go ahead and jump right in. Definitely thank all of you for being here. Look, if you are new to drones, or maybe you've been around drones for a while, but you got to re-up your Part 107, or maybe there's just a couple of things that you kind of forgot, right? Because flying drones is not like riding a bike, and maybe you need a refresher. Well, we put together the most frequently asked questions by drone pilots and answered them to a T. We were specific and provided answers based off of, once again, experience. I wanted to allow all of you to have it. And if you go to thedroneu.com/blog/part 107, we're going to just put the link in the description. There you can download the most frequently asked questions and the answers to them. Because you never know how one small tidbit of information can save you from catastrophe. But seriously. Anyway, check it out on our website. Otherwise, if you're ready to go flying with me, I'm excited. We're going to be doing some experience trainings. We got some trainings on the site already. I know many of you are getting out back to business, at least Texas and Florida and most of the Sun Belt is. Everywhere else, I can't speak for you, and I can't speak for New Mexico, so here we are.
Let's play the question. Now you're going to depress me.
Hello, Rob and Paul. First of all, I'd like to thank you so very much for all your efforts with educating and informing our drone community. I'm trying to get off my lazy pandemic butt and take my 107 so I can start my company. But I'm running into a little problem. Paul has talked about the fact that the Inspire 1 is the Ferrari of DJI drones, and I've bought two of them till I can start my work. But now I'm running into the problem of batteries. First of all, do you know of good replacement batteries available that aren't more than the actual price of the Inspire? And second of all, what are your thoughts on the Inspire 3 coming out? Will they do it? And if so, anytime soon? Or are they going to stay with the Matrix line and shove that one down our consumer throat? Again, thanks for everything.
Thank you, Marshall. Really do appreciate the question. A few different layers to get into there. And appreciate the kind words. It is our pleasure. I assure you that we have a ball doing this stuff and helping y'all out. So, Inspire 1, Ferrari.
I feel like that needs an explanation for sure.
Yeah, we probably better make sure people understand why you say that.
Mm-hmm. And I realize how important it is to be specific. When I say Ferrari, because for most people who follow me on Instagram, they see me flying the Inspire 2. And there's a very good reason for that. Pretty much the question that came up today, which is all about batteries. And here's the thing. The Inspire 1 is, in my opinion, the Ferrari. And you know why? Because a Ferrari is a driver's car. Mm-hmm. You cannot give a 16-year-old a Ferrari and expect to see that thing in fresh condition in the next year. It's just not going to happen.
No.
And I mean, give it to someone who still thinks that they're an amazing driver and they realize how far they have to learn in driving. I mean, a Ferrari is a driver's car, and the Inspire 1 is a pilot's drone. And here's what I mean. the Inspire 1 was really the elite aircraft, prosumer aircraft that came out really before DJI started dumbing down the controls on drones, like trying to make it easier and more simple and convenient to fly. I mean, the Inspire 1 versus the Inspire 2, what are the differences? Why is the i1 the Ferrari and not the i2? Because the i2 does have the battery redundancy, right? And I would argue, Rob, that the i1 might have been underpowered from the get-go. I mean, you really don't get a lot of flight time with that thing, but you can fly it like a bat out of hell. So, that said, here's just a couple few specific reasons why I say the i1 is the Ferrari. Number one, you don't have any of these software oversimplification protocols on that drone. You don't have overspin issues. The horizon line on the gimbal doesn't freak out when you do an excessively large or fast turn. And the aircraft doesn't utilize, and it doesn't have as many sensors as the i2. So when you're flying in super tight environments that require exponential level of focus, and I give the example of what I have been getting back into and what really made me famous in this industry, which was flying boats, doing surfing, wake surfing, you know? And when you're flying over water, if your VPS sensors are on, you are, no matter what, you're going to get sucked into the water. It's reflectivity. It's the same issue in mapping, reflectivity, okay? Now, with the i1, once you turn those sensors off and you flew, it was you and the drone. And if that drone made any movement that was nefarious or, you know, or it didn't do what you expected, it's because it was pilot input, 100%. I mean, I feel like you could put both drones behind a boat 2 feet over the water and see exactly what I'm talking about. Because even if you peel out of that quote unquote non-safe or not the safest environment, the Inspire 2, you'll overspin it. Because with the yaw setting the way, yaw overspin setting the way that it is now, you can't get a true, you just can't fly it aggressively. So you can't keep the camera perfectly level. When you do these aggressive maneuvers in the i2, there's always some sort of correction from the flight controller, either on the gimbal or the aircraft, and it does a bunch of funky stuff that I've really tried to eliminate, but the Inspire 1 just doesn't do it natively. And you can tell, I literally will rip the same movement on both drones, and you can see the software kicking in on the i2 and just completely like ruining the maneuver / shot.
And yet you use the Inspire 2 now just because of the sensor?
The X7, yeah. That's the thing, is the Inspire 1 can't carry the X7. Obviously, you know, you can't fit that camera on the i1 for the port, but also I think it's too heavy for that drone. While I love the battery redundancy on the i2, I would say it's actually caused me more problems than it's solved, in all honesty. Because once again, we go back to, you know, the show before this. If you know the battery health test, you don't need to worry about these things, and as long as you do it every flight.
So the redundancy also brings double the possibility of issues with batteries, is what you're saying, essentially, right?
Well, yeah, and also one of the things is, you know, they've added firmware to the batteries. So if you, let's say you buy brand new batteries, right, which I did last week, and you put them in your drone, and the surfer is getting ready to go. Sorry, Ashley. And you throw the batteries in, and it says cannot take off. Battery firmware inconsistent, and you're like, come on. And it's not until you actually try to start the motors that DJI Go 4 says, oh, hey, you want to update the firmware on the batteries, right? Okay, let's do it. Like, there's nowhere else to go. It's so annoying. And so it's these little nuances, and this is the thing of being a drone pilot, is it really tests your emotional intelligence, which is good. It's good for me. It's really good for me. It's really good for everyone, especially if you're sensitive, because it just really shows you, you're really only hurting yourself at that point. So it's been a tough lesson for me to learn, and I continue to learn it, and probably will for years to come. But
don't we all? Okay, so batteries, though, in terms of what they cost for the Inspire 1, we don't have any secret sauce on how to get batteries super cheap that actually work. Nope. They're just expensive.
And when he said the batteries are more expensive than the drone, I just saw you pull up batteries. That is nowhere close to the truth. And I too, even with the discounted price, it's still like $1,700, right?
To purchase an Inspire 1?
Yeah, Inspire 1, yes.
Yeah, I don't even know. I haven't looked at that in a while. But batteries, they're $300-$400.
Well,
but you're saying that's what they've always been?
No, they've been cheaper than that in the past, but I would argue not by much, maybe 20 or 30%. I just want to say too, because a lot of people ask us the question of like, what is the best drone to buy for the business? What is the best drone to buy for this budget? What if I'm trying to do this? What if I'm trying to do that? I want to make it really clear to everyone that while the Inspire 1 may be the Ferrari of drones, it's not really going to get you anywhere on a technical field, like mapping, modeling, etc. Although I do say that, and if Bill English is listening to this show, he's gonna be like, well, hold on a minute. In 2017, I won the fly-in on the accident challenge with an Inspire 1. I'm like, yeah, you did, Bill. But
he's special. What can you say?
But I wouldn't recommend a 12 megapixel sensor for anyone doing mapping or modeling, which actually that's going to be in our next show. It's very exciting to talk about, actually. That said, let's get to his point on, what about the Inspire 3? Look, I love this show because we get to speculate on the Inspire 3, but I just I don't want to be like most of the politicians in this country and pretend that our audience is stupid or borderline retarded, because you're not. You're intelligent human beings, fully capable of rationalizing and using logic on your own. So that said, I'm going to give all of you the benefit of the doubt, which I think we all deserve, which means that even though the Inspire 3 may be coming out, it doesn't necessarily mean that if you need a drone that you should wait for the Inspire 3. I don't think that is intelligent, because we really have no idea when the Inspire 3 will come out. We really, really don't have an idea. So that said, do I think we are going to get an Inspire 3? I think the answer is yes. And I think the proof and the evidence is actually quite public. So I believe it's the P1 camera that's on the M300. I think that full frame sensor is the example of what we should come to expect for the X9. 2 years ago when we were in a DJI office, I did see the X9. I've touched it. I've picked it up, and I got in trouble for it. It was
not the first time.
It's kind of like it's like Chinese trouble though. Like, you should not do that. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. 3 minutes later, I don't care. Like it's kind of like I say that because what I mean is that the standards for business ethics seem to be extremely high whenever I've worked with someone in China, specifically China. I would say Vietnam and some of these other countries, the business environment's slightly different, right? And we can't also use absolutes. We can't say one group of people is like this all the time. They're not. My point is, my personal experiences is I have found the bar is set very high.
Yeah. And
you're expected to follow it. So, but I'm kind of one of those like rebel kids where I can make you laugh, where I like, when I break your rules, I'll make you laugh about it. So it's not very bad. So that said, I'm just saying that like we had the opportunity to play with it. I do think the i3 is coming out. I don't know when. If I were to guess, I would say fall this year. Don't count your chickens on it. We really don't know.
It looks like I just Googled it, and it looks like we wrote about it in the end of 2019.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we've been waiting a little bit. Then we did have this little thing called the pandemic. So I'm sure that, had something to do with where we're at.
For sure. For sure. I will also say this might be an actual bombshell on the show. I would not be surprised if we see an American drone that actually outcompetes the Inspire 3. And I say that for a few reasons. Because here's the thing, the Inspire 3 is going to be at a price point where American drones probably can compete.
Yeah.
Maybe not on all features, but on the features you use the most. So for example, if FreeFly can get their act together, if the supply chain can get its act together and help, raise all boats, for lack of a better term, I think that we could actually see a powerhouse American drone come out and people question whether to buy the Inspire 3 or that drone, which really wouldn't be surprising as well, because as an article that I want to write, there was a gentleman who is, and I should have met him when I had the opportunity, so I really regret not meeting you, Steve, so sorry about that. When I was out in Virginia taking care of my dad, he was with Bill. That was the guy who was with Bill. So
that never worked out, did it?
No, because it was low vis, and he was like, "We can use my low vis waiver," and I was like, "I don't want to ruin a Phantom. I'm good." So anyway, so that said, Mr. Rhodes came out. And he follows accidents to a T, and he follows what drones DJI is currently servicing, is currently in development, and is currently in production, etc. And he just put out this huge article where he even proved that DJI is dropping a vast majority of their enterprise drones right now, like a lot of them. And so he said, is DJI going to stick us with the Matrix? And I will just say really fast, I know 9 out of 10 people in the drone industry would correct him and say it's the Matrice. But you know what? I want to give you a compliment, because if DJI would have named those drones the Matrix instead of the Matrice, they might have sold more. I mean, I'm just saying, I think Matrix is a way cooler name, Rob. I don't know. So
it's taken.
Yeah. Yeah, by Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. and you don't want to mess with Keanu Reeves.
No, you really don't. Yeah, don't mess with his dog either. So
that's right.
Anyway, but that said, do I think that DJI is going to stick us with the Matrice? No, I don't actually. I think the market has matured and realized that a lot of people don't really get the most out of the Matrices. And in all honesty, here's the thing. If you're a knowledgeable, experienced drone pilot, you can use consumer drones to do exactly what you need to do with these enterprise drones. And you'll save a lot of money.
I was just going to say that makes logical sense, especially when you factor in that the likelihood is that there would have been a lot fewer of those types of drones sold had they not been pushed by the enterprise sellers.
It's a very important point.
That's, from my perspective, just reality based on what we're seeing the actual enterprise users fly and use.
Yeah.
That once they learn and figure it out, like our buddies over at FDNY, they're not using enterprise stuff. They don't even want to.
Yeah, and I mean, do you blame them? No. I mean, these guys, for them, them and, all public safety, right? The space is limited in what they can carry, where, and how. And
they got to get it out quick. They got to get it in the air quick. They got to get it into small spaces. And there's all sorts of reasons why.
Yes. I mean, I would say the only thing I would come back with is, I know that they are using the enterprise version of the Mavic, but I think that is the only one that's really getting, really used. And
True.
Here's the thing on this article that Steve wrote about how DJI just stuck it to all the enterprise guys by not supporting their drones anymore. He is actually making a legal argument that the drones really aren't operable under, I think it was 107.15, if I remember the article correctly, which I think might be a little bit of a stretch. But I also want to give the guy credence and credit, because it kind of comes down to what I've been saying about the pilot is ultimately responsible in regards to some manufacturers. So, I don't want to write that off quickly, but he has notated on his website numerous cases of people spending tens of thousands of dollars and dusting units left and right because people aren't trained. They really don't understand the operating environment.
They're just more complex to fly as a general rule.
And so the whole, marketing has been, these enterprise drones do everything consumer drones do, but it's easier on you because you're public safety. And we know that you don't have the time to learn how to fly. What an erroneous strategy.
Yeah, I will say in defense of the enterprise sellers, all over the country and world, that the prosumer drones, the consumer drones, have progressed very quickly in terms of their capabilities.
True.
Right? So there is that as well.
That is true.
It's kind of a kind of thing.
Where did we end up buying our Mavic 2 Enterprise Dual Advance from?
Where did we get that? I think we got it from
DJI Arizona, right?
Yeah.
Arizona,
It was DJI Arizona. Yeah, they had it in stock and got it to us in a couple days.
I have to say, those guys we've known them for a long time, and we've had varying levels of a relationship over time. And those guys are so consistent. They're just so
They've been around a
consistent.
while, huh?
They have.
Yeah.
And most of their team has been around for a while too, which says a lot about their culture and the type of people that they are, which is unique. And I'm not going to bash other people. I'm just going to say that it's rare and unique.
Let's not.
We're grateful for you guys. So, we've talked about a lot of other drone stores, and a lot of people ask us, where are you buying your stuff? Well, now you know. We're buying from DJI Arizona.
Well, it depends on what we need. We've bought a couple drones from Drone Nerds.
Yep.
They've been good to us, and they weren't able to get this one out quickly enough, but I'm glad we were able to do it with DJI Arizona. It worked out great.
It really did.
Yeah.
Just kind of following up on this Inspire 3 question. Look here, ladies and gentlemen, the fact of the matter is you should not be betting your business on hopes and dreams on what may come out or what should come out. You should only make decisions on what is concrete. And I would extend that even further and say only utilize equipment that is reliable and known. I mean, this is why, I've started a drone business on a Phantom, and I've run one. And when I say that you can run a business off of a Phantom, I totally mean it because I've done it. And that covers the entire gamut of business too. It covers, creative and technical.
Well, we have a 600 sitting in a box in there.
This is true. This is true.
I mean,
yes.
Say no more.
I mean, it's for industrial inspections. We did the solar inspection class with it. We have it to fly Netflix productions and whatnot. Although I just have to say this. It is so astounding how many outside crews get hired to come into New Mexico when New Mexico is like, we only hire crews from New Mexico. That is not true. That is like most things the government tells you. There's always more to the story. So anyway,
the devil's in the detail.
Unfortunately, I wish we lived in a simpler society, frankly. That said, look, my friend, I appreciate the question. Yes, the Inspire 1 is the Ferrari, but no, it doesn't cover the whole gamut, especially technical. The Inspire 2, I am personally flying a lot. You can follow me on Instagram and check it out. It's Taken Flight. It's just I spell it with my last name, so it's not a traditional Taken spelling. But anyway, long story short is, look, I don't really know what you're going to be doing with your drone. When we say that the Inspire 1 is the Ferrari, we say that because of flight characteristics, abilities to fly it in difficult areas, action sports, etc. Inspire 3, just a quick wrap up. Yes, it's probably going to come this year. Yes, you're probably going to have a full frame. I wouldn't be surprised though if you see more competitive drones from different manufacturers before the i3 though. I think though that DJI absolutely murders the game with the Mavic 3. I think I know what they have up their sleeve. And some leaky people. So thank you, leakies.
Leaky.
I mean, honestly, we know half the time it's literally fed by
like,
DJI.
Leaky blinders?
The peaky blinders? The leaky blinders. Oh, okay. It's just that they don't dress as cool and they don't have those cool Irish accents.
Oh, man, I wish I had that accent.
Let's just go live there for 6 months and we'll be good. Yeah.
Oh man. Anyways,
I already got the blonde hair, red beard. Like I already have the natural look from that area. And I didn't even know this, by the way, until like 2 years ago, because someone was like, I'm in Scotland and I just met someone who I literally thought was you. And I ran up to them and said, Paul, and it was awkward. It's just like, I don't have many friends that would run up to me, but anyway. So.
Especially in I got all kinds of questions about that, but we're not going to go into that. So.
Well, anyway,
whatever.
Anyway, we hope that this question or this answer helps you. I'm really excited for the next show because we're going to be talking about, Skydio's new 3D modeling stuff, and we got our hands on the unit and the software. We were able to test it. I'm very excited about that. Make sure to check out that next show. If you haven't subscribed, please do it. And if you would, please leave us a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you download the show. Just know that is better than you writing like a thank you card to Drone You and telling us how much you've helped us or how much we've helped you and you're grateful. Please just write us a review. It helps us so much. So, but thank you very much for all of you. Thank you to all of our members, and very excited for all the changes that are coming. I mean, we're so excited. We have so many things to announce and we can't do it yet. So excited to announce those new things.
Yeah. So stay with us.
Definitely. That's going to do it for us today. My name is Paul.
My name is Rob.
This is Ask Drone You.